talk singing.
Okay.
So welcome, Keziah.
Hello.
Just so people know, we've tried for the last 5 minutes to get for me to get Keziah's name right, and I'm going
It's a hard one.
It is indeed. I might call you Kez. She said Keziah, or Keziah. You've told me I can call you Kez, so that might happen.
You have permission, that's okay.
So I'm so glad you're here. I welcome you very wholeheartedly to the Let's Talk Singing podcast, and
Thank you.
I'm a big fan, very big fan. I really like the stuff that you're putting out online, and as a person that is also, you know, I also focus on mindset. I don't make it my sole focus, but I'm also a person that personally focuses on that and feel that it is important for people as well and singers. But so maybe you want to give us a small kind of like introduction to who you are, and then we can get on to what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Keziah Grace, and I am 24 years old. I come from a small town in South Yorkshire in Sheffield, and when I was 17 I went to Edinburgh, where I went to college, a college called the MGA Academy of Performing Arts, where I studied musical theatre and graduated in 2016. I also gained a diploma through the London College of Music in music theatre performance, so lots of musical theatre.
I like
Trained
it.
and brought up, yes. After I graduated, I went on to work for Headliners Theatre Company with P&O Cruises. And then after that, I went on to work for Princess Cruises, which was an incredible contract. I learned so much on that contract. I met some of my favorite people. I met my boyfriend. So yeah, extremely good contract. And after that, I had a typical performer's bout of unemployment, as we all go through. And I then did a small production of Sleeping Beauty the pantomime before I moved to Japan for 13 months, where I worked at Universal Studios in Osaka, Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's me.
Wow. Whoa, a lot of things to unpack there. Crazy. Well, let's start with that. Let's start with that one. You living in Japan for 13 months. Wow.
Yeah, very different.
What was the job?
I worked in the big production show, the Universal Monsters Live Rock and Roll Show.
Wow.
So I was, in fact, the Bride of Frankenstein.
Nice.
And, yeah, so that was up to 6 shows a day, 5 days a week. So lots for 13 months.
Wow.
And they have crazy hot summers as well. So
I
very
can
different
imagine.
Experience, but incredible experience. Yeah.
I can imagine. And where was that? In what city in Japan?
In Osaka.
Osaka, okay.
Osaka, Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. They have very good food in Japan. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. Myself and my girlfriend also definitely want to take a trip to Japan. That's one of our things that before we settle down somewhere, I think we'd like to go and take a trip around.
Yeah.
So okay,
recommend.
so yeah, six up to 6 shows a day. Wow. And what kind of stuff were you singing?
I mostly sang "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Great.
Yeah, so different pop. It was a rock and roll show. The songs kind of varied. They're a little bit poppy. But yeah, songs of that ilk. Yeah.
Cool.
Very regularly. Lots of belty and diva songs.
Right. And so I'm sure you had loads of practice in belting from doing your musical theatre diploma and also your degree as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I learned how to belt whilst I was at college, actually, in second year, because I did not come naturally to me. So, or it did not. Does now. Thankfully.
Nice. Yeah. And so what were the kind of stuff? So you said you were in the Beauty and the Beast, panto.
Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, Sleeping Beauty. Sorry, Sleeping Beauty panto. And so with the musical theatre stuff, were you where was your voice line? As in, like, where were you? What kind of roles would you have liked to have sung, or what did you get to sing in musical theatre stuff, if any productions? Or in
when we were at college, whilst we were at college, we did Spring Awakening. We did Spring Awakening, in which I sang "The Dark I Know Well," if you know that song.
I do.
Very dramatic, very passionate song. Oh, that was the kind of song you could really grip yourself into that character and just wear your heart on your sleeve. And aim to make that audience cry.
Nice.
That was an incredible experience. And actually, when I was 16, not professionally, but at high school, we did a production of We Will Rock You, which was my first experience of performing in any form of musical setting. And I was Scaramouche, and that was amazing.
Deadly.
Yeah, she's a rock star. I love that character.
I haven't actually seen it. My brother worked, I think, for front of house, if I'm not wrong, in London for We Will Rock You, and he saw it so many times, and then he was coming to me telling me how great it was, and I actually haven't seen it yet, but I assume that it's fantastic. I mean, the music,
incredible. It's such a fun one as well. The costumes, the setting, it's just amazing. Yeah, quite the production.
And so, what brought you to musical theatre then? Why did you pick that as something you wanted to do?
Goes back to when you're a kid, doesn't it? It's all the typical, but that's when it gets you. I remember the first show I ever saw was Les Mis, live in London, and I remember seeing my mum cry for the first time, and I thought, she must be so sad. I don't know why she's so sad at this show. But then seeing how a theatre production can affect people so much and give them that connection, really tell that story, that an actress or actor can portray that emotion, portray that character, so much so that it causes someone to cry, it causes someone to laugh, it causes someone to fall in love. It's just beautiful. It's just amazing. And through singing, I always enjoyed singing. I grew up singing in church, and I really wanted to explore that as a career. And because I was so in love with musical theatre, it all just clicked into place in my head.
Yeah, you're totally right though. Musical theatre, there's a very special thing about musical theatre, in a sense of like in 1.5 hours or 2 hours, you get to experience all of the emotions that you just said.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I'm a big musical theatre head myself. Grew up in musical theatre family and stuff like that. So I have a big love for musical theatre, but also went off on a different path doing jazz and rock and stuff like that. But
wow, amazing. Yeah.
But there's nothing that gets me more than listening to, like, I don't know, stars from Javier or Les Mis or some, or some Jason Robert Brown stuff. Nothing. There's still nothing that really gets me like that. So I understand it completely.
Gives you all the feels.
Yeah. So come here. So then you're a vocal mindset coach.
I am, yes.
Okay. So can you tell us, how did you arrive to that title, to that job?
Yeah. So it's a great question. I love getting the chance to explain what a vocal mindset coach does and what vocal mindset is. So as a vocal mindset coach, I combine vocal coaching with professional life coaching in order to help performers who want to sing, but who have some fears or anxiety or struggles that hold them back in their career or life. So singers who feel stuck. I have experienced feeling vocally stuck. I've been extremely lucky with the career that I have had and I'm having. But it doesn't mean that everything always felt right in my own voice. Like, you just know if there's a gut feeling of, I need to work on something, or I'm doing everything right to be vocally healthy, but something isn't quite right and I just don't know what it is. Then that's when vocal mindset comes into play. So I am a certified professional life coach with Transformation Academy. And for anyone that doesn't know, I recently started a blog called Anxious to Sing. I did a mental health ambassador course, and the reasons behind creating Anxious to Sing were really to meet and connect with people who are experiencing their career in a similar way that I have, in terms of struggling with anxiety and performance anxiety and vocal anxiety. In order to share with those people the things I've discovered and do on a daily basis now to ease and manage and help get rid of my personal anxiety. Now, in terms of performance anxiety, that can stem from any type of anxiety, from general anxiety in everyday life, which is what I personally struggle with, past trauma or past performance experience or environment. There's a lot of different things. So in terms of arriving at being a vocal mindset coach, my own journey took me somewhere I never expected to be. And it got me to the point where I thought, what would I have liked to know 4 years ago when I first started out as a professional vocalist that I know now, or even before that, like 7 years ago when I started training. And in thinking in that way, I'm very much a believer that everything happens for a reason at the time it's meant to happen. And I believe that I went through what I went through in terms of performance anxiety so that other people don't have to. I believe I went through it so that I can help other people not have to feel that way, and help them find ways that work for them personally to eradicate those limiting beliefs and help their vocal mindset, and therefore help their vocals to soar, basically. I love that word, soar. It's just uplifting, and it just shines a light from your chest if you soar in every aspect of your being. Yes. Anyway, I could tell you so many parts about my own singing journey to do with becoming a vocal mindset coach. But to sum up, I became and did the research and gained the required certifications to become a vocal mindset coach in order to help people. To help performers develop a strong, confident, and ambitious voice and mindset to help them reach those wildest dreams that you absolutely can reach. And this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I am proof. My vocal mindset has personally been completely transformed by working on the healthiest foundations for my voice, continued work with a vocal teacher, and working on my mindset, my self-love, my self-care. It's often something that gets forgotten. You don't get taught at college or at uni how to look after your vocal mindset. You get taught so much stuff, and it's incredible. And then you go out into this performing world and you're like, you're left to your own devices as such. And it can be a scary place. And if you suffer from anxiety, then understanding how to deal with that, I think, is very, very important. So that's what I want to be able to offer to people, because I've felt how they feel. And if I can prevent anyone from having to feel crippled personally and professionally by anxiety, then I will consider that an extremely incredible accomplishment if they know that they are not alone, especially in anxiety. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I love it. So I like also that you're coming from experience. I like
Yes,
that
very much so.
it's not just something read in a book one time and then you go, okay, that's what I'll do. No, you actually
No.
have
Yeah.
something that
There
you
are some
can.
incredible books, but no.
For sure. But I mean, there's nothing like when someone goes through it themselves, and then, as you said, you felt that it was something that was meant to happen for you to
Yeah.
be able to then help other people. And I think that's great. I think there needs to be
Yeah.
more people like that. And so with like performance or vocal vocal or singing anxiety, what are the kind of things that when you're working with people, what are the kind of things that people come in with that are the most what's the word? What are the things that people come in with most, that they have anxiety about most?
A lot of it stems from subconscious beliefs, which you may have heard about before. So limiting beliefs are things like you believe you're not good enough for whatever reason. Again, I can relate it to my own personal thing as an example. When I was younger, I lost my school friends, and I still don't know why. And that was a first experience, of rejection. So that feeds into your life in more ways than you realize. And a lot of the things that my clients come to me with are lack of confidence due to not thinking they are good enough. They don't believe that they can be Christine Daae. They don't believe that they can be Scaramouche. And it makes me so sad, because working on these things and helping someone gain that confidence to be like, oh, I absolutely can. Why did I think that I couldn't? That's just the best feeling. Seeing that change, that transformation within someone is incredible. So that's what comes a lot, is it is the self-doubt in themselves and in what they believe is possible for their lives. I teach a lot about what one human can do another human can do, because that's it. There's no real limits there's no real vocal limits apart from what we decide cannot be for ourselves. And where that comes from is our own limiting beliefs as opposed to the truth. And I like to be able to transform people into seeing their truth and knowing that they are worthy of their truth as well. Yeah.
And do you think most of the anxiety comes from inside or from outside? Do you think it's people that are saying to people that you can't do this, people being put in boxes, or do you think it's obviously there's many different examples, but in the most
there
part?
are a lot of examples. Yeah. I know that people have had experiences before, whether it be at college or whether it be general surroundings, where someone has said something to them and it's really had a very lasting effect on them. So I've also had a client come to me with past trauma from experiences such as that, in order to work through, because they were the foundations that then laid their voice upon. So they had those beliefs and they tried to excel with their voice, but because of that mindset of someone told me this and now I believe this of myself, it completely held back their voice. And I think you don't realize how much that mindset holds back and restricts your voice. It really, really does. So in terms of whether it is environmental or internal, absolutely both. It can be either. There's so many different forms of anxiety. I know that I keep saying personally mine is from inside, mine is from my general anxiety, but those limiting beliefs came from things that happened around me several years ago. So it can be a combination, it could be one or the other. It really varies a lot,
And what are the kind of things then, so not to give away your secrets, but to maybe talk about maybe some things that you work on with people. Like maybe you want to give us a bit of an overview of maybe one of your classes, what people can expect.
Do that. I can do that. So I run a 12-week course on vocal mindset and confidence, and those 12 weeks are based around how long it takes to eradicate bad vocal habits and start to lay the healthiest foundations for your voice. So as I said, I work both with vocal coaching and with life coaching. So I could completely combine the two. In terms of what that entails, I have a layout and I have a structure, but I tailor every session to that client because everyone is individual, everyone and their voices are unique. And I really want my clients to know that as well and to firmly feel that when they work with me, because that's very important that they understand that they are unique and what they have to offer the world is unique. So I work on that a lot with them in terms of that mindset. I also like to talk a lot about SOVT work in terms of laying the healthiest foundations and coming up with a great structure and plan for them to continue on with. The point of the course is a transformation. It's not 12 weeks of I'll give you a slap on the back and bye. It's not like that at all, you know. It is in terms of the transformation. So offering these tools that they can continue on with throughout their entire life, really. These are long-lasting, life-changing tools. They're not things that will suppress for now. It's very important not to suppress your emotions, not to suppress your anxiety and where those things come from. It's accepting and seizing the emotions and everything that you feel within yourself and knowing that you are in control of your body as well. That's a very big thing. So coping mechanisms in terms of performance anxiety as well, that's an entire session. Really honing in on goals and creating ways that they can see them happening, because they can happen and they will happen if they believe that. Anatomy as well, understanding that, again, what one human can do, another human can do. So that's just a few of the things really that are within that course without giving too much away.
Yeah. But that was a great advertisement for it, I think.
If you'd like to know more.
Yeah, exactly. Link underneath. No, that was great. I love it. And also you can see that though you're passionate about it. You're also, you're, as I said, you're coming from an experience, but also when you speak about it, you're engaging and you're passionate about it, which I can imagine when people come and take your course, they would also feel that energy. And I think that it's a lot about that energy. Yeah. And I
Yes.
actually felt that that's kind of, I'm back to doing one-to-one lessons here in Germany. And I really
Amazing.
felt that that's what I missed when I got back in the room with my students on Wednesday. I kind of went, oh, wow.
Mm.
I mean, I know online is great and it's very, you know, efficient in a way and
Yeah.
people can do it, but there's nothing like being in a room with someone and having that energy and feeling them somewhat come out of their shell, maybe just in that half an
Yes.
hour.
Yes.
Yeah,
When they relax with you as well, and then you know that you have this bond that you can really communicate and really work with each other extremely well. That's so important as well. And that's a
absolutely.
wonderful feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, as you said, just to roll back a small bit, as you said about being internal or environmental,
Mm.
I have a lot of students that would necessarily say, they'd say that a teacher back when they were younger told them that they couldn't sing. So
Mm-hmm.
they just decided that that's what they had. They just couldn't sing, and so they didn't pursue that. And then they started to
Right.
come to lessons, and I
Yeah.
really do. I'm a big believer and advocate and I like to kind of peel away those onion layers, to
Yes.
quote Shrek. Um,
Absolutely.
it's so that they can feel that, because a lot of them at the end kind of go, wow, I really didn't realize that this was okay, that the way I
Yes.
sung was okay,
Ah,
you know.
yes. And that realization for them as well is like, oh, okay. And when people realize that they can actually sing as easily as they talk with the same ease, that's like, what? Can
I
you
know.
really? Because I
Yeah.
know personally, and I still work on this with my own singing teacher, um, you have to make sure that that pressure is not being put on your vocal folds, but however you can create the sound that you are looking for, you create it. And I think it's very important to continue vocal lessons throughout your entire career after graduating, because this is how we avoid gaining those bad habits. And
Mm.
that's a mistake of mine. Learn from my mistakes. I have learned a lot and I've completely transformed. But that is where I got those bad habits from initially, several years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a guy, I think he's in London. He's definitely in England somewhere.
Mhm.
Dane Chalfin. Do you know Dane
Right.
Chalfin?
I don't recognize the name.
I'll send you on his stuff after,
Yeah,
but he
absolutely.
works and has been working a lot on this kind of technique called primal sound. So he's a
Okay.
vocal coach and he's a singing teacher, and
Mm.
he does this great course online, 10 weeks of techniques that I haven't taken but I want to take. But anyway, his idea is come back to primal sound. So getting people to come back to the sounds that are made when we were children, the sounds that we
Yes.
make when we're frightened, the
Yeah.
big loud scream that we make if we're frightened, and then people go, no, but I can't get up to that register. But wait a second, but when you're frightened, you do. So
Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
it's really
Yeah. Well,
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know if you've read The Art of Singing by Jennifer Hamady, and I
Not
really
yet.
hope I said that. Oh,
It's on my reading list though.
in
Yeah.
terms of vocal mindset,
Mm.
especially, that book is incredible. She gripped me from the very, very beginning. And she talks about how when we're in the supermarket, you're at an age and it's cute to make these sounds, and then you grow up a little bit, and you can be in the supermarket singing like you would have before, and your parent may say to you, you need to stop singing. So
Right.
that also can come into the limiting beliefs in terms of you then grow up thinking, oh, that's something I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I shouldn't sing in these situations, so you then don't sing as often, etc. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that idea of his course. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's really. I'll send you on the stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, but I think
Yeah, thank you.
it's very much so like what the art of singing is talking about as well. Of like getting
Hmm.
back to that kind of childlike way of just expressing without
Yes,
the
those
ramifications.
foundations.
Or
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
absolutely.
So there's a couple of buzzwords that I find I always come up to, or always find when I start looking at mindset, or if I start looking at consciousness, or if I start looking at all that kind of sphere of the world. Um, and it's this word of like self-doubt.
Yes.
Self-doubt. And what's your understanding of self-doubt? What do you define as self-doubt?
Yes, that's a very good question. Yeah. So I think it's natural for us as humans to want to create something in this world. We want to leave our mark. We want to leave our unique mark. It might be a baby, or more specifically to us, like a sculpture or music or lyrics, etc. Yes, and in order to leave that mark that stands out and is special, we have to create something that's authentically us, authentically unique and genuine and honest, from our own thoughts and how we personally view and experience the world. And that can be a really scary thought. Leaving our mark in the world sounds all well and good until you think about being 100% authentically you, and that can be a very scary thing to be in this world, which we need to normalize as well, especially with social media. Embrace who you are, embrace yourself. It's very, very important. But yeah, tracking back. So in order to leave this personal, unique mark on the world, as artists, we have to address every aspect of ourselves. Especially as performers, we work tirelessly to find these emotions and feelings within ourselves, that we can relay out in a song or performance, which completely shows every single scar. It's the whole thing of having your heart on your sleeve. But that entails vulnerability, complete and utter vulnerability. It means it's 100% our soul being laid out for all to see through this song or performance, which is incredibly beautiful and absolutely terrifying at the same time. And after doing all that work, we still face one feared outcome, which is rejection. The fear of rejection. Everyone fears it, but I bet everyone's experienced it in some way, shape, or form, and it's shaped them as a person in their lives. And this is where I believe a lot of self-doubt starts for performers. The fear of rejection from being 100% themselves in front of an audition panel or an audience, and the fear of that rejection and what could be. A lot of anxiety stems from fear of the future and what could be rather than what is right now, which is why we talk a lot about becoming present. So out of that self-doubt, we start to think that instead you should just limit what you put out there, limit what you put out into the world. We try to hold back from sharing too much, and in doing so we develop these thoughts instead of, maybe I'm wrong to be feeling that way, or maybe my opinions aren't valid, or what if someone disagrees with me, what if I'm not enough. It all comes into those limiting beliefs again. So we refrain from showing too much of our authentic selves so as to avoid needing to answer these hard questions, which are questions we've created for ourselves as well, so as to avoid feeling like it's our entire being that's being rejected. However, so I believe that's where a lot of self-doubt stems from for performers. However, what I would love to say is being our authentic selves, or holding back from being authentic selves, genuinely deprives the world of what we have to offer, especially as performers. We don't want our fears to be affirmed in terms of being rejected, but it's in these moments that we have to show up. We have to show up entirely confidently and with our entire being, in order to let ourselves shine and conquer that mindset as such. Yes, it's where we must power through as performers. For example, I share my story personally, all the bad, ugly parts and all the good parts, because I know I'm not the only performer that has ever thought I can't belt. I know I'm not the only performer that's ever thought I can't possibly sing easily or belt easily, etc., etc. But in order, from sharing my story, I've connected with like minds and can help people see things in a different way, can help people understand things in a different way. So you may even develop a character or performance in a brand new way that no one's ever seen that character before. But in being bold and confident and just giving it your all, your entire authentic self, you have brought to life an entirely new and incredible character that everybody loves. And if they don't love it, with the vocal mindset, you are still proud that you showed up entirely as yourself. If you show up as yourself and you say, this is what I have to offer, this is what I can give you, and I'm proud of it. If it's not right for you, I understand. That's completely fine. But if it is right for you, then amazing. I showed up as myself and I'm living this life entirely as myself. So yeah, when we refrain from sharing our entire selves due to self-doubt, we're genuinely depriving people of what we have to offer. I think in order to leave our special, unique mark on the world, it is our entire unique selves, which is why I like to work with that with my clients on understanding that they are unique, they are individual, and what they have to offer is completely unique and beautiful into this world, vocally and personally.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. And I think that's excellent. I think, as you said, you know, if you go there, you're your truest self, you're authentic, you're showing there, you're showing up, I think you said.
Yes, showing up.
Showing up.
Entirely
And
as you.
yeah, entirely
Beautiful.
as you. And then, as you said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you're able to go home and sleep at night knowing that you did the right thing for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Being proud in yourself and what you have to offer and your abilities is what that's what I strive for in my clients. So they know that what they have is something they can be entirely proud of, something they can be confident in, no matter what happens in terms of fear of rejection, etc.
And do you work mainly with musical theatre singers?
Not just, no. So I actually work with the minute a dancer who sings. So my courses, like I said, I like to tailor it around each client specifically. So I have a intake questionnaire in order to do so. Because as I was creating it, I wanted to jam pack it, and that's not the way to do it. You can't fill 12 hours with 50 hours of work, you know. So that's why I find it very important to tailor it. So in terms of dancers who want to sing with more confidence, they want to gain that confidence, there's that as well. And same for actors. And then equally professional vocalists who feel that sense of being stuck, feeling vocally stuck, feeling that they're doing everything right, but they don't know what's wrong anymore. They can't figure out where to go. Yeah, so it's really quite varied.
Yeah, that's great. I was just thinking, because with musical theatre, I know when I used to do it, it was very much so there was a part there written, and you kind of had to fulfill the criteria for that part. You know, if I was, you know, I couldn't be a small Javert, or I couldn't be a, you know, whatever it is. Or even character wise and stuff. And I feel that a lot of musical theatre singers might suffer from this anxiety or this pressure to become something that is there written for them.
Yes.
And in comparison to that, with let's say contemporary singers or with singer songwriters, and so that's the uniqueness is celebrated.
Yes. Yeah. Right? I know what you mean. In terms of working specifically with musical theatre clients, that is when the course is more tailored around. It's not a different vocal mindset for musical theatre and for different kind of gig work or etc. But like you just said, in terms of casting wise and people feeling this like they have to adhere to that character, so they have to be that character because they think, or they were told even, that's the character that you should be, that's a perfect character for you. But what if they don't want to be that character? You know, it is a thing of knowing your castability in musical theatre and being honest about that, but also not feeling as if you're forced into that castability. So the mindset around that as well is doing it because you know your why, doing it because you know who you are and what you can offer, as opposed to doing it because you feel forced to do so. That's never a good way to enter into a show or audition or character, etc.
Sure. Yeah, but I think, as you said, having that vocal mindset of kind of feeling, look, I'm going to give it my all. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to showcase, and then being able to come home and be happy.
Yeah, and you just never know. My most recent contract, the guy, the MD, pulled me aside and was like, I have never seen that character like that before. And at first I was like, oh, okay, that's different. And now I just love it. And I was like, okay, I had no idea what I did. I just did it. I performed it. I was just myself as that character. And yeah, that really goes a long way. And then having comments like that just goes to show you just don't know.
Absolutely. And that's it. You don't know who's going to be watching, finding that this is the new fresh thing that they wanted to see, or exactly. There's going to be someone sitting beside them going, no, I preferred Eponine in a different way, or the way it's the original.
Yeah.
You're never going to please everyone. I put up a post yesterday about 50% of your audience, 50% of people are not going to like you. If you have that
Yeah,
mindset of going,
it's
at
true.
least there's other 50, maybe they will, you know?
Yeah, it's like the glass half full.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, so let's just take it back a tiny bit. So, physical manifestations of anxiety for
Mhm.
singers. I've come up against some of them, um, personally, and also just from people that have told me about them. Singers, like one of them being a trembly voice,
Yes. Mhm.
nervousness, not being able to catch your breath, and the
Yeah.
manifestation is a voice that cannot be straight. It just has this tremble all the time.
Yeah.
Is that something that has come up? Is that something that you have experience with, or maybe just what's your take on it yourself?
Yeah, that comes up quite a lot actually. My personal experience, actually my own anxiety and nerves transferred into this constricted growl that used to
Wow.
come out. Yeah, it happened at college quite a lot actually. As I could be absolutely fine one day, absolutely wonderful, and then I'd go to sing in front of a class, which is what I had to work through myself, and I would be completely rigid. Like my
Mm,
entire body would feel, it was like my entire body just felt like it was being squeezed. And that was how anxiety, performance anxiety in particular, that was how I experienced it, which caused complete constriction within my voice and my my throat, my neck.
mm.
I caused myself so much neck tension, and I have to have it massaged out even now because of the problems that I caused myself due to this. So I didn't as much experience the trembling voice, but I've done a lot of research into it because I know a lot of people do. And yes, my own constriction, my own vocal tension was worked out through mindset work. And it sounds crazy, but having that, eradicating your own limiting beliefs and figuring out why you feel that scared when you stand in front of those 10 people at college,
Mm.
it's such, you dive so deep into yourself. I'm getting very deep here, but you do dive so
Keep
deeply
going.
into yourself that you can't help but come out the other end completely transformed. In realizing where those things came from, that is the most fulfilling experience of my entire life, which is also why I can talk about it with so much confidence and happily, because I know where I am today is completely different. And this woman that's so much more confident and more vocally advanced than I've ever been, because of so much work vocally and mindset wise as well, together combined. Yes, so in terms of vocal trembling, what I learned from my own experience was prep. So prep. I know that there are some people out there that don't do vocal warm-ups or don't warm up in any manner, and they may say to you, you take it too seriously, you warm up too often. And I've heard it all. Honestly, I've heard it all. And what I will say to that is, it is never a bad thing or a wrong thing to be putting and committing your entire all into your craft, because you produce the best work by showing how passionate you are about your work. So it is, if anyone ever says that to you, just be like, okay, that's your opinion and that's okay, you know? But focus on you. Yes, so preparing. I have my own little routine, pre-show routine that I like to do in terms of warming up my entire being and centering myself before I even do like a 15-minute vocal warm-up. So it just helps you relax your muscles more, engage your muscles, and engage that breath to body work and body breath to voice work. Everything is linked. Everything is linked. So I have some examples of what that could be. My personal routine might not work for everyone, so I've just got some general examples that I can tell you about. I work with this on my clients in creating specifically for them what pre-show warm-up routine is perfect for them in making them feel free and ready and raring to go, and present as well. So in general, you need to warm up your body and face, allowing those tight muscles to relax and finding that sense of calm. So shoulder rolls, arm swings, neck rolls, but make sure you don't grind on the back of your neck. So lifting your neck up as you do so. A huge fake yawn. These are all the things that we learn at college, but it's true that we forget to go back to the basics sometimes. So a huge great yawn with your arms and your mouth. That's such a good one for waking up your face. And I'm also a big fan of anything that feels a little bit silly if you know that you suffer with performance anxiety, because personally, if I'm feeling anxious and then I start pulling all these ridiculous faces, then it takes my mind onto this whole, okay, I look ridiculous right now pulling all these faces, and it makes me laugh as opposed to being worried about the future or what could be, etc. Yes, so that's first one. And along with that, your slow body rolls down and up, but connecting those with your breath. So 10 counts down, breathing in, and then 10 counts rolling up really, really slowly through every vertebrae whilst breathing out, because that connects the breath, to your body, and that's starting to warm up everything in connection with each other in the present moment. Yes. Trembling voice is generally related to lack of breath support, but if I say to you, support your breath more, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. That's not helpful for most people. So adding in those breath counts to the roll down and roll up is a very good one. Basic, but very good. And then the second one would be to warm up your tongue. Your tongue is an extremely big muscle. I'd love to show you a diagram, but this is a podcast. So, but so big. So you have to get that under control. Otherwise it can get in the way, which can also cause breath problems as well. So my college used to call this exercise the washing machine, but that doesn't really sound very nice. But it's just moving your tongue clockwise and anti-clockwise around your teeth and lips on the inside of your mouth with your mouth closed. So that's a very typical one. That's a really good one. And moving on to a tongue twister for your articulating is always very, very good. Favorite of mine is a proper cup of coffee in a proper cup of coffee pot. Oh, nice. I actually got it right. I wasn't sure I was going to. So there you go. If you're struggling for one, then go for something like that, because that again starts to connect the breath to the voice as well as you're warming up the body. Then my favorite breathing exercise to do, so controlling that breath, is so you breathe in for 8 counts and fill up your belly. So really, you can hold your sides as well. I find that really helps me to feel that air flowing in, and then as I breathe out, to feel it stay there for a bit before it starts to go in. I'm going to say, not the technical term, but yeah. Yes, so breathe in for 8 counts in that way, and then blowing out on a controlled blowfish face. And I didn't know it was called this before until my singing teacher told me, so I absolutely love that. But puffing out your cheeks, piercing the lips. I talked about this recently as well, for 8 counts controlled, because that also activates some SOBT work. So it helps to reset your voice, or helps it feel like it's resetting to an optimum level in order for your performance. So all that connects your voice and slows down your mind, brings you back to the present, as with everything we want to do in terms of settling anxiety, is bring to the present. And then finally, yes, connecting all that work you've just done to your voice. So picking a tone and trying to get that air out as quickly as possible on a connected, so you connect those folds and just and it comes out just like that. Try and get that air out as fast as you can, but without force, and in a controlled manner, and that connects your voice very well to your breath, which helps especially with a trembling voice. So you can do that as many times as you need. Get rid of all that air and then repeat it until you feel like that connection is strong, but on a solid note. Like, don't feel like it's going or something like that. You just pick a note that works for you, even at a speaking quality, and connect it in that way, and then it's a solid note and you've started that connection. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's a little pre.
Yeah, I like it. It's, and again, as you said, it's all about connecting not just not just doing the warm-ups, but connecting it then with the voice
Yes,
afterwards.
yes, everything. And then you can go on to do your 15-minute
Sure.
or however long vocal warm-up.
Yeah.
This is just really, I keep saying it, but bringing you to the present is just so important for anxiety. And I understand that, because you can think of, with anxiety, you think of every possible scenario that could go wrong, and you prepare as if that's going to happen. Or at least that's how I've experienced a lot of it, is I think, right, what could go wrong and what could I do to fix it just in case that goes wrong? And that mindset it's such a busy one. It's such a constant state of worry. And you don't realize that that's the way you're processing things you go through until you do the work backwards in on yourself. So being present, even just noting the things around you, if you feel like you're going to get anxiety or anxious mid-show, I've experienced that before. You can stay backstage and you think, or like before you go out, and just think, okay, how many lights can I see? I can see one. I mean, don't stare at them because it's probably dark and it's not good for your eyes. But in terms of things like that, how many red things can I see? How many people have wigs on and stuff like that? That really just brings that attention back to the present moment, instead of trying to figure out all the things that you should do just in case. You don't have to live in the just in cases. You are here in the present, and having that connection with the present is what will drive you forward and create that vocal freedom for you. Yeah.
And with the prep for this, so as you said, not so to keep in the present and not be thinking of the things that could go wrong and how you could fix them. But that's I kind of believe that should be your prep, as in that should be way before the gig. Think about all the things that go wrong, and then
in terms of vocally, like, you can prepare in any possible way you can. But what I mean really with those scenarios is, I would stand backstage and think, oh, what if my shoe breaks? Like, what are the chances of your shoe breaking? Little things like that. Every single minute detail is thought through just in case. And it's those things that are irrelevant, really, because they're not going to happen. And if you think about them and feel them like that, you are manifesting these bad things into happening, as opposed to manifesting the perfect scenario, the perfect performance. Yeah.
And as you said, that busy mind is just a not a nice place to be in anyway. That
no,
busy
it's
mind.
constant. It is constant. Yeah. Yeah. Even when you're going over lyrics and you know them, but it's the whole thing of, oh, but I have to go through them every single time before I do a show, just in case I don't know them.
Yeah.
Things like that. It comes down to your why behind your doing it. So if I would go through my lyrics before I did a show, just to make sure that I knew them, because I like to make sure, that's great. My why is, don't want to do it wrong on stage. If I do that out of a fear of doing it wrong, then that is a completely different mindset. That is the unhealthy mindset behind doing things like that. And it's finding and recognizing the difference within yourself and thinking, okay, I'm actually doing it out of fear, as opposed to because I should or because I want to be professional. Finding that difference is extremely vital, and that is what makes you go, oh, okay, in a lot of aspects. Yeah, so that's where that vocal mindset comes in as well, figuring out the difference between fear-induced action and inspired action.
Wow, beautiful. Fear-induced action and inspired action. I love that. Yeah. Also, I like that in the sense of like finding the why, finding the intent. And when it's a good quality, healthy intent, or a good reason why, it will set you up in a nicer mindset. But if it's going to become, as you said, coming from fear or coming from past trauma or anything like that, or
guilt,
overthinking,
that happens a lot too.
Guilt. Wow.
Yeah. That happens a lot as well.
Yeah. And so that then kind of negates the performance of what it could possibly be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in terms of the wobbling voice as well, and self-doubt, taking yourself out of the situation, a lot of performance anxiety, if you want to address things like that, then starting off with a big character song and taking yourself out of the situation in that way, you become that character. You start singing, I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair, for example, etc., because that is a character completely different to you, completely different accent to you. that is a very good way in, if you struggle to take yourself out of the situation as a performer. Yeah.
I love that. That's a really good point. Yeah, put yourself in the place that you cannot connect yourself to, in a sense.
Yes.
Put yourself
Yeah,
into
exactly.
something that's completely
Very well
not
said.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's a nice tactic, actually. Yeah, because again, it's all these little things that when you, from me being a singing teacher as well, is that when you arrive in the room with these people, and you kind of go, wow, this person really is very anxious, and even though my personal skills, like my interpersonal skills and my communicative skills would be good enough to maybe help them, but still these little things that you said of maybe the tactic of putting them outside themselves,
Yeah.
is quite nice, quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm glad
So
that's helpful.
yeah, for sure. What about books and resources for people to then go a bit deeper into mindset?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned a few already. So in terms of mindset, so like I say, I combine mindset and vocal work within my vocal mindset course. And yes, in terms of mindset, the book simply titled "You Are a Badass" is one of my favorites. I think a lot of people have read it, but I reread it and reread it. Incredible book. It will tell you all the foundations of everything you need to do with your mindset, and then yes, you can delve deeper in from that, or by speaking with someone like myself. The book Self-Love and Spiritual Alchemy by Danny Watson, another incredible book that talks about limiting beliefs a lot, and where those energies come from, and picking up your own energy, picking up your own vibration, so that you attract the things that you desire into your life, and believing that you can attract them and that they can happen and will happen for you. And then again, the book specifically around mindset to do with vocalists is The Art of Singing by Jennifer Hamady. I keep saying that name, and I really hope that I'm saying it right. So I'm just going to put that out there too. Yes, and then vocal books, Anatomy of the Voice, simply titled Understanding what your voice is, where your voice is, that you have it, that every human has it, that Christina Aguilera has it, for example, is very, very good in terms of calming those negative thoughts and thinking. I used to think, for example, that my throat's different to everyone else's. What they can do, I can't do. And that's not true at all. So learning basics like basic anatomy is very helpful for realizing that. And the book, This Is a Voice, which I think you have also read.
It's so good.
Incredible. Just incredible. In the fact that there's specific exercise for different type of voice work, that's just, mind-blowing. Yeah. Highly, highly recommend, especially for any vocalist, but for actors as well who want to sing. Both sides of it, there's just, incredible.
Absolutely.
And the other resource that I'd like to mention is a website called Singdaptive. I've spoken with them a lot before, I've spoken about them a lot before. As I mentioned earlier, once you graduate, once you continue your career, it's important to continue practice, it's important to continue learning. And this website will absolutely enable you to do so. There's so much information there, and it's in bite-sized chunks. It's not hard to follow, it's super easy to follow, it covers so many different areas, and it's all in one place. I personally have never seen that before. So yes, Singdaptive, highly recommend that website. Yeah.
Excellent. Is Singdaptive, is it a subscription-based website?
So there is a subscription available, but you also can sign up for a free account as well.
Very cool.
So the free account enables you to fill out the first questionnaire, which then gives you mini courses that are tailored to what your specific answers from that questionnaire. Wow. So you can start off like that, and you can try it out if you see what you feel about it before you even think about the membership and everything, which is what I love about it as well, that they offer you those free basics and everything as well, which is incredible. Yeah,
that's great. That's also a great place for, as you said, people that maybe have done their training and just kind of want to dip back into it.
Yes,
or kind
definitely.
of keep up on top of stuff.
So much there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And also, as you said, that this is the voice book is fantastic. It really is. It's kind of, it's changed the game a small bit for me since I bought it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Also,
I keep looking at the
No,
courses that they have and everything, and yes, I definitely want to take one very soon.
for sure. Yeah. But as you said, for actors as well that want to sing, but even actors that just want to manipulate their voice and speak in character voices and stuff like that, this book is just such a resource that you kind of, and you kind of don't believe it's just all in one book, firstly.
Yeah.
And then the other one is that it looks so good. A lot of times, a lot of books to do with the voice and stuff are very, sometimes very bland, and sometimes very hard to kind of go, well, not hard to read, but more so hard to always go back to and be excited about, even though the information is great. But this book, really, they've done so well on the graphics, illustrations, color panels, everything.
Any illustrations of the voice just helps you so much. Especially for visual learners, that is seeing that and thinking, oh, okay, that's what's inside my throat. Incredible. Their layout is wonderful, like you said.
Yeah, and an anatomy of the voice and stuff. I think that it just all the ones you said, fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Keziah. Did I get it right?
Keziah. Yeah.
I got
it's
the
okay.
I got the how much would you say the kind of the embellishment or so the Keziah is wrong. Keziah.
Yeah.
Keziah.
At the beginning. Don't even worry. I've heard so many versions of my name. You would laugh.
Well, as I said, though, it's one that people would remember because you go like, what was that again?
Indeed. Yeah. And then this British girl walks in and people are like, your name's not British. I was like, no, it's really not British.
Yeah, actually, where is it? Where is it? The name
it's from the Bible. It's from the Bible.
Cool.
It's Hebrew. Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Keziah.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. That was really, really great. I love that.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been wonderful to talk to you and meet you virtually.
Absolutely. And look, best of luck with the anxiety to sing, right? Is it your blog?
Anxious to sing.
To sing. So
in terms of finding me, contacting me, etc., then you can do so via my blog, www.anxioustoSing.com. That's nice and easy. There's a vocal mindset coaching tab at the top if you want to look into that. I also am very available on Instagram if anyone ever wants to chat about anything or inquire about my course before booking the free call, because you can talk to me via a free call before considering signing on for the course, etc. Then you can contact me on Instagram, which is at I'm Keziah Grace Music. So I am and then KEZIAH Grace Music. And you can also contact me via email, which is just anxioustosing@hotmail.com. I'm very reachable. I'm always contactable, and I love being contacted by people and meeting new people, meeting new creatives, even if it's just to say hi, come and say hello, because I absolutely love it. And even just to get to know you as a person, I really love it. So anytime, any place.
Brilliant. Love that. I mean, if anyone listening, anyone watching, that's the most inviting invitation you're going to get. Take it. Get on
Come
to
and
Keziah.
say hello.
Exactly. So look, I wish you a lovely day. And again, thanks for coming on.
Absolute pleasure.
And I'm sure we'll be in contact. That's how we found each other, at least on Instagram. So I'm sure we'll be in contact there again.
Yeah,
and
enjoy the social media.
Oh, it's incredible. Amazing.
It is. Powerful platform.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Thanks. We'll speak soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
No
speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.